we are joined by probably what was one of the hottest free agents in the sport of mixed martial arts. I am, of course, talking about Michael Venom Page. He was signed with the UFC, not with the PFL. What's going on, Mike? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you, bro?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. So you joined us on Tales from the Octagon. Thank you very much. Great to have you there. And when you were on there, I said, who you fighting? Or sorry, who you signing with? And it sounded like you were going full bore, PFL. Sounded like the contract was done. Sounded like Cedric Doumbé, I believe, was the opponent. What the hell happened?
I gotta keep people guessing, man. I couldn't just give it everything on the table. You know what I mean? I had to keep everyone guessing. So it's a little bit tricky. Keep people talking. Yeah. And then, to surprise everybody.
Yeah, I certainly did that. So you're making your debut on UFC 299, which is looking like one of the most stacked cards. But without going into too much private details, I don't expect anything too much. But what was the deciding factor in signing with the UFC? And I'm not trying to instigate anything negative about the PFL, the great organizations.
No, definitely. It's to be fair, it was difficult. Obviously, PFL are really pushing hard, and it looked like they're onto something quite big. It looks very, very well structured and so on and so forth. But for me, and I even had this conversation with them, I was like, in order to turn my head away from UFC, it would have to be a ridiculous offer. And, we went back and forth and, they wasn't able to kind of get to that place. But, I think it's good to have this kind of competition, especially for fighters. And I've always said that from when I, was first kind of, growing up in the MMA world. It's great for fighters to have this kind of competition and have another organization to be able to go to. So, I wish them all the best. But yeah, the UFC is kind of been in my heart since joining MMA or the world of MMA. It's always, seeing the likes of yourself and other great champions come up. It's always been something I have seen myself at least at one point in my career doing.
No, absolutely. And I know for a fact the UFC fans will be very happy to have you because, you've always been a remarkable talent, not kissing your ass. The things you've achieved in the sport and what you've done in martial arts. Now, for those people that don't know, you have been a lifelong martial artist. You are a fifth dan? in kickboxing, just a cheeky little fifth dan.
I also Lao Gar Kung Fu almost got it to the end. I was literally brown sash Lao Gar Kung Fu, and then obviously later on crossing over into the mixed martial arts world. But martial arts has been my life since the age of 3. It's a family thing. So it's definitely close to my heart.
Let me just ask you about Kung Fu because I'm a little, I'll say, ignorant when it comes to Kung Fu. I've never studied it. I've never done anything. And, I think given mixed martial arts and its effectiveness, what's the word I'm looking for? Efficacy. That was the word doing the round throughout the pandemic. The efficacy. Efficacy. I've got it wrong again already. But anyway, Kung Fu. Right. And I'm not asking you to disrespect the martial art, but how instrumental is that in a real life combat situation?
For mixed martial arts, there's limited things, but at the same time, my foundation, my style comes from there. So as much as it's limited, it did create what you see in MVP. We did a lot of traditional katas, but at the same time it's weird because we did Lao Gar Kung Fu as an art, but we did kickboxing competitions for the fight. So obviously it did lean into a lot of my strength training and stuff came from Lao Gar. My flexibility, my kicking ability all came from the Lao Gar Kung Fu. And then I was able to execute those moves in the kickboxing, and then the kickboxing kind of formed the style that you see in that I've now brought to the cage.
And I guess doing martial arts from an early age like that, it kind of formats the brain because I did Japanese jiu-jitsu since I was a little kid. And whilst, again, some of it's usable, but a lot of it is also things, a lot of it you just wouldn't even attempt, you know what I mean?
Exactly,
but however, my brain was formatted so I could learn and pick things up very quickly. You've had an incredible career. You're known for your flashy knockouts. We talked about this at Tales from the Octagon. I mean, I'll never forget denting cyborg Evangelista's head. I mean, you threw a flying knee, damaged his head. How excited are you now to to be in the UFC, which is widely regarded as the premier organization? What are your goals here, Mike? What are you looking to achieve?
To be fair, I want to make as much noise as possible. I already know the MVP that everyone's seen in Bellator. If I do even a quarter of the stuff in the UFC, it just makes crazy noise. And I know there's more to my game. But yeah, I'm looking to go for the belt. There's no point wasting time trying to grow. I want to get some exciting fights. Go for the belt. I've already been had a few interviews and spoken about how the magnitude of, imagine me and Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards hopefully still has the belt, and I think he will. He's an exceptional fighter. I come in, create some big noise, get a few big knockouts under my belt, and then go for the belt. And imagine me and him in the UK, trying to fill out a stadium somewhere. I think we can make that happen.
And that would be incredible. But of course, first, we've got to get through your debut opponent, who is Kevin Holland. And I think on paper, that's a tremendous matchup. Both tall, long strikers. He's an entertaining guy. How do you feel about Kevin Holland?
Mate, he's a great, a kind of fan of his work, from just obviously being a fan of the game, watching him, seeing his fight, seeing how he talks, and like you say, the entertainment side of Kevin Holland. He's a game fighter, so I know I'm in for a fight. It's exciting, and it puts me right at the top. It's a big statement piece as well to go in and win against somebody like Kevin Holland. It's a big statement, and it kind of sets me on the right track. So I'm massively excited.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's a perfect kind of launching pad for you, UFC 299. It's a ridiculously stacked fight card. Kevin Holland is a fan favorite. Everybody knows the guy. He's got a colorful personality. And I think stylistically, that matchup's going to allow you to be you. Okay, he's got great jiu-jitsu, he's well-rounded, but he's not one of these, hardcore wrestlers that's just going to be shooting double legs, pushing you up against the fence. He's going to allow you to operate, so that must excite you. Yeah,
no, definitely. It just fits my style. But at the same time, it's not one-sided. He's competent in that area as well. So, and he's long, he's awkward, he throws some crazy stuff that are all dangerous. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I mean. It just adds to the excitement of being at the UFC.
And I saw this. There was a bit of an interview this week, or you're doing the rounds. You guarantee Kevin Holland will not try and do a gentleman's agreement that nobody shoots for a takedown, right?
I don't think he will. It'd be funny if you look at my history. A lot of people initially they see my style. Good strikers, they'll see my style, and from the outside looking in, they're like, you know what, he can never do that the playing around and stuff with me. Then they get in the cage and they realize that I'm a lot faster than they would have expected. I'm a lot more tricky. I start playing around, and it's like, you know what? Let me just be a wrestler. Let me just shoot for his legs. And I've turned some amazing strikers into wrestlers in my career. And I know that, I just see it time and time again. Even in the gym, there's guys that I've sparred in the gym that are renowned strikers, and I know they come in here thinking, I'm definitely gonna get him. And, a minute in, they're already shooting.
Exactly. Well, I can't wait. I look forward to it. I'm going to play a little game of word association with you in the rankings here, if you don't mind. So you're coming in. Where's Kevin Holland here? Is he not in the rankings? He's got to be in the rankings. Where is he? I don't see his bloody name. But anyway, Ian Machado Gary. He's ranked number 10.
Yeah.
Well, how do we feel about Machado Gary?
Prospect.
Yep. You're doing big things. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Amazing style. Spectacular.
That would have been one that I would have thought on paper as well. That must have been a front runner for the UFC, but I think he's got another matchup. Gilbert Burns.
Just living legend. I'll say legend. Yeah. I've loved watching him for many years now, and still at the top of his game. So amazing.
And he's one of the nicest guys as well. He's just a class act from start.
I've only met him once, but he's even in that interaction, you can kind of see he's just very respectful.
Yeah. Obviously, the next fight for the belt, I believe at 170 is going to be Bilal Muhammad, Leon Edwards. Yeah. I'll say I favor Leon in that one. We've seen that one before. Yeah. I think other than yourself, Leon has the ability to go on and defend the belt many times. The one fly in that ointment, I believe, is Shavkat Rakhmonov. 17-0, 17 finishes. What do you think about Shavkat?
Tough guy, but I see holes. I see a few holes there that can be exploited. Obviously, you can say it from the outside, but I see a few holes that can be exploited, and that's another exciting fight.
Yeah, listen, you're always so humble, Mike. You know what I mean? You will not talk shit about anyone. And I love that about you, because when people watch you fight, you walk out and you've got so much swagger. You look like the cockiest bastard ever, but you back it up. But then when I first met you, I'm like, he's like the nicest guy. There's no controversy. You were probably like, what am I doing here at Tales from the Octagon? Because the London show got a bit out of hand. But the trash talking side of things, Mike, you know what I mean? That's a very popular thing these days. What do you make of the current climate? A lot of people are saying a lot of nasty shit these days.
Yeah, personally, I don't like it. Obviously, that's like I'm bound to my martial arts heritage and how I've been grown. Like I bow and show respect coming into the gym, bow to my coaches, bow to leave the gym. I've just grown with that level of respect. And I don't mind the trash talk and a little back and forth and, it's a hyper fight, but I feel like there should be, I feel like there was back in the day, there was like a gentleman's agreement that it stays amongst me and you, because me and you get to settle it in the cage. I feel like Conor McGregor's wave of like just how he exploded onto the scene, his personality, and I think everybody is drawn to what's genuine. That is genuinely him. But then you got the people that come up after him that try to replicate what he's done in hope that they're going to get the same traction, and then it just gets ugly. And I think it's those guys coming through now that's trying a bit too hard, and they're not being honest with themselves. And it's getting it's getting out of hand, a bit too disrespectful. Like there's certain things that I'm hearing, I'm like, if it's said to me, then I don't know if I meet you in the cage or I meet you in the car park. Like, and that's just honestly speaking.
See, there it is. There's the real MVP coming out. When the PR agents aren't around, when your manager's not there, it's like, this said what? You touch on something there, Mike, because you've got a traditional martial arts background, as did earlier in the day, back when mixed martial arts first came around, we were all martial artists.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now it's kind of changed because the sport's got so big, and now it's 30 years old. There's people that see it on TV and they want to, they see it as a career path, as opposed to being a martial artist and then testing themselves and slowly grinding and thinking, I'll go to the UFC and go against the best in the world. What do you think about the current state of affairs in that regard? Because there is people now, they start off with the UFC in mind. Do you think there's been kind of a shift in the mindset and the talent of people?
Yeah, there's definitely been a shift, but I'm hoping, and it feels like still a lot of the coaches are still around in terms of that they're still got a bit of the old school mentality. So as much as these guys are kind of joining with no background of martial arts, they are. And just learning mixed martial arts, they are learning from, for the most part, guys that do have a background and do have traditional values and stuff. So I think it does change when it comes to the PR side of things. But I think just from what I see with a lot of the guys that I've worked with, trained with, and listened to who their coaches are, they're still there. So again, I think it's going to take a little bit longer before it is, it's complete wipeout, and it is just complete the new coaches and the new mixed martial artists.
Yeah, the new generation, the George St. Pierre's and people like that. The slowly but surely, we're all getting too old. 36 years old now, though, Mike. In a perfect world, what is your trajectory? How many fights do you think it will take? Because you have got a big name. You've got an incredible record. You've done some incredible. You've had some massive moments inside a ring or a cage. For those people who don't know, you fought all over the world. You've done professional boxing, kickboxing till the cows come home. Only 2 losses in your storied career as well. What is the perfect path towards a title for you?
Perfect path, the defeat Holland, make a big statement, and if good enough, I might be right there, but for the dangling, waiting for the title, or I have one more just to prove myself, and then again I'm back for the title. I mean, as you say, I'm in it for a good time, not a long time, so I'm looking to make noise and make steps very quickly.
Obviously, spending a lot of time in Bellator and other organizations. Have you always kept up with the UFC? And are you a fan? Do you watch the fights? So, you can talk about some of the fights and stuff?
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's usually I kind of class myself as a casual fan because it's usually the big name and big hype fights that kind of get hyped, and are the ones that I kind of go back and watch, or for the big events I'll sit down and watch them. But it's usually I get to the gym and all the guys are talking about, oh, this, that, oh, this person did this and that, and then I go back and watch the fights.
So I'm just looking at your record here. You made your debut in 2012. Tornado kick right off the bat, you know what I mean? Setting the stall out high. As you say, you're a bit of a casual, if you will. Well, if you're a casual fan, like a lot of people are, Sugar Sean O'Malley is main eventing your debut card, UFC 299 in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera. You got any thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, to be fair, I think Sean O'Malley has just impressed me every step that he's gotten. He's kind of taken every step that he's gone forward, and every fight that he's gone forward. I've just been more and more impressed with him, his timing, his just precision, accuracy. He doesn't really waste too much, his setups. You can tell he's a very intelligent fighter. And even when I've heard him talk, I think it was on like Joe Rogan's podcast. And you can tell he really studies the art, like he really pays attention. So my money's all on O'Malley, definitely.
Geez, going against my coach, Jason Perillo. That's our guy, Venom. My God. The Believe You Me podcast wouldn't be the Believe You Me podcast without one Mike Harrington. He's our producer, and Brian McKay in the background. I think Brian just got out of bed, so I'm not going to ask him to jump on the screen. But Harrington, are you there? Because you got to get to Miami. There he is. You got to get to Miami. And to get to Miami, you got to get on a plane. But I don't know if you know this, getting on planes these days isn't the most, it's not the safest thing just lately in America. Harrington, the floor is yours.
So they found this crazy thing. An Alaska Airlines flight happened. It was going over the Pacific Northwest. There was a bolt that was wrong with the door, and it ended up coming off of the plane mid-flight. I saw
this. Yeah.
The door of the plane landed in someone's backyard in Portland, Oregon. Someone's phone got sucked out of the plane. Somebody found it on the ground, still working and open to the Alaska Airlines, like where to get your bag part. So shout out to the iPhone. But they found when they
made in China.
Yeah. Dude, they looked at the entire Alaska Airlines fleet, and they found that 9 other planes were at risk of having this exact same thing happen to them. And in the wake of it now, the FAA is saying you shouldn't fly with babies or children on your lap because they're as much of a danger as that iPhone to be sucked out of the plane.
I mean, they said, I saw on the news this morning, they said, yeah, there were several babies on that flight, but they weren't close enough to the door. Had they been a bit closer, the babies would have been sucked off their lap. I mean, it's not funny. It's horrifying. What would you do if you're on a plane, Mike, and the door gets sucked off? It's a stupid question. You shit your pants.
This is where I'm hoping that my training and grappling training pays off, and I start holding as tight as I can to the seat.
Get that seatbelt on. That seatbelt. Are you a nervous flyer, Mike?
Not even the slightest. Not the slightest. I've been flying since I was too young, so I've never been fast.
Yeah, no, it's mental, the state of things these days. Even the doors are flying off. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, no, I know. And then last night I saw there was some air traffic controller having an argument with a pilot. I saw it on Twitter. And now, granted, you can't believe everything you see on Twitter, but this air traffic controller was arguing with the pilot, who's been a pilot for 15 years. And this woman saying, no, you got to do this. And the pilot saying, no, that's wrong. And she says, no, I know it's correct because I've Googled it. To a pilot that's been flying 15 years, she's Googling the rules, man. The world's going crazy.
That's crazy. The world is definitely going crazy, man. We're living in scary times right now.
Scary times, my brother. So, back to the fight with Kevin Holland. What do you? How do you think this fight plays out?
Again, I think you know what. If he's such a tough guy, it's always definitely hard to to decipher. But I just see me just dissecting him, landing a lot of precise, very powerful shots, which will make him want to kind of change his game plan. Instead of trying to stand there and strike with me, he may try a few other things. Once that fails, if he attempts to go for these things, he might run into a knee, he might run into a punch, he might run into an elbow, and if he still doesn't fall over, I just see him being a hot mess by the end of it when they raise my hand.
Oh, a hot mess by the end of it. Let's go. I love Kevin Holland though as well, so shout out Kevin Holland. He's a great guy. The grappling side of things, Mike. How do you think you'll fare? Because the UFC, a lot of wrestlers in there, a lot of Dagestanis, a lot of powerhouse Division 1 All-Americans. You know, how is the takedown defense, Mike? And
it's just going to force me. It's just going to force me to up my game. You know what I mean? There's I got a few bad habits, and it's due to the style, unfortunately. So if I was solely wrestling, I'm fine. If I'm solely doing grappling, I'm fine. Due to the style, how my stance is in play, it can play a little bit of it changes the kind of the way I have to do everything. But it just forces me to up my game and kind of correct those mistakes and fix those things, and that's it. You know, if the thing is, people first and foremost find it hard to even get to me. You know, I've been in the cage many a times and they struggle to even get to my legs just because of the movement. But if they do, again, it forces me to out my game.
Yeah, I think that's what people don't realize. I'm trying to think. There was a fight recently. Who was it? Oh, Colby versus Leon. And people were saying he's not shooting. And he wasn't shooting. Colby didn't do much. It wasn't the most incredible barn buster fight. But I think a lot of that was due to what Leon was doing, the way he was moving, the way he was switching stances, and then also the doubt that goes into people's minds. Because as soon as you shoot, you can walk onto a knee, an elbow, whatever, and it's wasted energy. So I see you repping proudly London Shoot Fighters there. You've been with them since day one. MMA?
From the beginning. From the beginning, man. From the beginning. So I'm loving it.
No, London Shoot Fight is one of the first ever gyms, and they're no strangers to prepping people like yourself to get ready for wrestlers. They know the game inside and out. Yeah. So UFC. I mean, does it feel like like this was always destined to be?
A little bit. It's still a bit surreal. You know, even seeing Dana mention my name, still a bit surreal, and then I think as I'm gonna get closer and closer to the fight, I'm still gonna have that bit of like, oh shit, I'm in the UFC, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but yeah, I've always like raised up to the occasion, so I'm looking forward to it still.
So you've got Sean O'Malley beating Marlon Vera, Dustin Poirier, Benoit Saint-Denis, Gilbert Burns, Jack Della Maddalena, Kevin Holland, Michael Venom Page. I mean, it's going to be hard to stand out on this card because normally you would come in and like deliver some crazy knockout and people will be talking about it. But this fight card is absolutely mental.
If I do what I think, I actually do believe though, because everybody else are existing UFC fighters. I think just the question mark over my name makes my fight very interesting. Everybody's I think a lot of people are going to be paying attention just because they want to know. They want to know the answer. Can I hang in the UFC? Is he at that standard? So regardless of, I always say the same thing. I'll say it when I was in Bellator. I could be the first fight of the night. I still class myself as the main event because people want to see me and people are always entertained by me when I'm in the cage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You did have 2 boxing matches. Is the boxing side of things that's done?
It's definitely done now.
Well, exactly.
Now. UFC are not letting that happen, so it's definitely done now. But yeah, I'm a martial artist. I love to kind of lean in and try different, or just test myself in different ways. I definitely would have done it more back then, but we had some political issues in the background. And then I tried the bare knuckle as well. That to be fair, I actually had a lot of fun. I didn't get the result I wanted. I felt like I got the result. I got the result, but I didn't get the result I wanted. But I had fun. Like I always like to push and challenge myself. But for now, the main challenge is the UFC now. Like, and can I get to the top?
Yeah, of course. You're talking about the fight with Mike Perry. I mean, Mike Perry. If there's one person on planet Earth that is suited to bare knuckle, it is that man. He's an absolute animal.
Definitely, he's found his place, and it's nice because I do like him. He's a great character, cool guy. Is. So he's found his place. It's kind of nice to see him, regardless not necessarily making the success that he wanted in the UFC. He's now fallen into this thing that is just perfect for him.
Yeah. Now another thing that stuck out to me when I did meet you finally in person was the size of you. 6'3". You're a big dude making 170 pounds. That's going to be a pain in the ass, Mike.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, for some reason, I don't know what it is about. Everyone says it, even in the gym. From 1 week, I look massive, and then the second I know I got a fight, all of a sudden they're like, "Wait, how have you lost that much weight?" My body just like, "Yep, we're ready to go," and I've never found it too much of a struggle at all. So this is why I've kind of continued to stay in that. Obviously, they say as you get older, it gets harder, and I have felt that a little bit, but even still, I managed to make it.
You know, it's funny because I used to kind of experience the same thing, because when I knew I had a fight coming up, all of a sudden my appetite wasn't what it was and things like that. And I think that was my brain subconsciously just taking over everything in my body, because I knew I couldn't, go out and be binging and eating crappy food.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to have a restricted amount of calories. So I just my brain was sending subliminal messages.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but, as a martial artist, you could probably...
Mind is a powerful place, man. So yeah, I definitely believe in that, and I just let my body because I know it's happened before. I just let my body get to work, and I've never missed weight, never missed weight.
Yeah. So this time next year, Michael Venom Page, Leon Edwards in a stadium in the UK. Do you know Leon? Do you have a personal relationship?
Yeah. I definitely know him, and as I say, I don't feel similar to what we were talking about earlier. I don't feel like we need animosity to necessarily build a fight. We're both prize fighters. We both got an established name. If I go and do what I know I can do in the UFC cage, we're gonna make some noise, and people are gonna be looking for this fight. We just need to just touch hands, rock it out, and then hug afterwards, regardless of the result. Let's go.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Well, listen, Mike, no doubt you're getting ready. How is preparations coming along?
Tough, man. My coach is on my neck. He's not messing around.
When do you fly out to Miami?
They're trying to finalize that now, whether they want me to go out a little bit earlier. But to be fair, because my family are there, I go back. I literally just came back from there. I never really have any kind of jet lag and stuff going to Miami, so I might not need to acclimatize. So maybe just be the week off.
Yeah, it's not bad. What is it, 5 hours, something like that? Well, listen, Mike, exactly. we'll let you get back to it. I'll let you get training. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for joining us on Tales from the Octagon. Did you enjoy yourself? Oh, he's gone. He's fucking out of it. Oh, there he is. Yeah. I was like, he's not messing around. He's got a training session to get to. Hey, thanks for joining us in London, mate. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Man, listen, I always even the first time I came down, love listening to your story. It's very inspirational in terms of what you had to go through to kind of get to the title. And I feel like I think I said it to you, I feel like you found your place. You're so comfortable on stage, man. It's just, you got such a great presence, great energy, great character. It was a blessing to be there. Thank you for inviting me.
No, you're the man, mate. All the best against Kevin Holland. Sadly, I won't be there, but I will be watching, Mike. Big fan. Lot of respect. And thanks for your time.
Nice one, man. Take care, man.
Take it easy, brother. There he is.
Bye.
The one and only Michael Venom Page.